Alright. You ever watched a film and you're just like, fuck, this is boring? And you decide to yourself, you know what? I'm in the middle of this film, I know I've worked an hour through it, it's got an hour to go, but, maybe I put something else on instead. So, you go ahead, you chuck something else on, and then, you watch all the way through that film, which is longer, but more interesting. And then suddenly you're like, you know what? I've put in the effort to watch the first half of the other film. I'm going to go back and finish it. Then you decide to watch another film after that film. I did that once. It was interesting. It wasn't like a by myself experience. That would have been even worse. No, this was the night. Let me see if I can find it. Because I got to find exactly what date it was. Because it could have been last year. In fact, it more than likely was. No, it wasn't. It was this year. March 14th. Diary. Let's go back to March. July, June, May, April, March 14th. Geez, that was a day and a half, wasn't it? On one day, I watched 4 movies. Interesting. It never logs in what time you watched them on Letterboxd, but me and my mates, I think there was, who was with us? There was, I know Guy, this is on, Discord, one of the last times we did this. Guy was there, Bill was there, I think Simone was there as well. I don't know how much she was watching. Pierre was in and out because he was watching, a football game or whatever, so more pressing matters, realistically, and probably much more worth it in the end. We started watching 2016's Warcraft. It's not a good film. It was hilariously bad, but not enjoyably bad as well. So it was just a mess. And I remember a good chunk of it, despite it not being a very interesting film. And it's a pretty long film. It's just slightly over 2 hours. It's an hour, 123 minutes. So we watched that. We got halfway through it and decided, fuck this for a joke, we're going to watch a different film. So then we put on Excalibur, which was far superior of a film, and 20 minutes longer. This is the John Borman 1981 version, which is quite a ride of a film. I know that I was definitely paying attention while I was watching it. I say that because in comparison, I'm pretty sure Bill and Guy weren't exactly. They were, getting confused a lot by what was happening. I'm pretty sure Guy's seen it before, but, Bill was getting very confused by what was happening at the time, because he was like, what the hell's going on the screen? But then they were, doing a different thing at the same time. I don't know if they were playing a game. I don't know what the hell they were doing, to be honest. But they were doing something else at the same time. It's really, And so we get through all of Excalibur. I log it on Letterboxd. In fact, I pinned it as a rewatch because I remember the majority of it because I'd watched it as a kid. So, pinned it as a rewatch. And we're like, okay, cool. Now, it's only, 2 a.m., I think. I don't know. I'm pretty sure we started Excalibur on the 13th. Well, actually, I'm pretty sure we started Warcraft on the 13th. This is, late at night, maybe 9, 10 o'clock. By the time Excalibur had finished, it was the Saturday morning. So saying that I've watched these 4 in the same day is a bit ballsy because it logged them all on the same day. I didn't even catalog the fact that Excalibur, we watched that we watched the majority on the Friday night. We watched the majority of fucking Warcraft on the Friday night as well. But then we went back to watching Warcraft immediately after watching Excalibur because we're like, hey, let's actually try and finish this. So we did. And so, hence, that's the one that comes right after in my review log. I gave it 1 star. I fucking hated it. It was really bad. I don't even play the games, and I thought it was bad. But then, to add to it, we decided to watch Avalon High, which I had watched a year or so ago. I don't even know if I've logged it twice. Please tell me I have reviewed it twice. Holy shit. The first time I watched it was in 2019. My friend was suggested it, said it was good. I gave it 2 stars the first time. The second time I gave it a star and a half. I guess we were really kind of big on like we want fantasy, medieval maybe stuff. We wanted something like Excalibur, because like obviously we're watching Warcraft. We wanted something like Warcraft that was better, so we watched Excalibur. Then we wanted something that was like Excalibur but worse, so we went back to Warcraft. Then we wanted something that was. Both of these two movies were mostly Excalibur, but worse than Excalibur but better than Warcraft, so we watched Avalon High. Not a very good film. I gave it 2 stars the first time I watched it, and then a star and a half the second time I watched this. And I even said I can't believe I saw this a second time as part of my review. I mean, like, I followed that up by the end of that night, so the Saturday night, by watching Turning Red. Different kind of experience, but just kind of bizarre in a way. Like, we have a lot of occasions where... I've had a lot of occasions where we've just been watching something, whilst on Discord, and just jump into like a different thing, maybe different TV shows or whatever. There's no other really like unique experiences outside of that like one porno we watched, which was like it's Deep Throat, and we watched it for the cinematic qualities. I promise you. But yeah, it's just one of those things. I like to be the kind of person who. I don't like to be the kind of person who will just turn off a film halfway through, It doesn't appeal to me unless I have a good reason. Like, sometimes I might be watching a film and be like, maybe a friend might be like, hey, let's hang out, and we'll go out and hang out. To be fair, that happened once. There have been very few times where I have just stopped the film because I've hated it. Like, I have hated watching films, and I'm like, look, I'm committed to this shit, we're gonna finish this. And in all fairness, I don't know does that say something big about me? Like, yeah, I'm the kind of guy who'll watch a film, and if I don't like it, I'm gonna keep watching it anyway, But at the same time, I could even say like I watched Triple R with. That was probably the last time we had a Discord call. We were watching Triple R. I never even got to log it. I'd seen it in cinemas, and then it was on Netflix. So me and Simone and Guy were watching it. Simone had never seen it. We got halfway through, and it'd been a long day, I had work the next day, all that kind of shit, so I was like, it's midnight, let's call it quits at the halfway point, obviously where the intermission should be, but isn't because it's Netflix. So we turned it off and never go back to it, which I really hate, because it's like, I'm also like, I'd love to finish watching it. I'd love to, finish rewatching it, because again, I have already seen it. I loved the first time watching it. I still really like the second time watching it, but I just never finished it the second time. But again, that was like a different kind of situation where it's like, I'm watching it with friends, and we just never got around to watching the second time, because it wasn't about me watching it, it was about us watching it. It was about watching it with Simone, someone who hadn't seen it yet. But I have films like that as well. There was another one, Dances with Wolves. I had 2 different experiences watching it, because I think I watched it as a kid, but didn't really care for it, I guess. I don't know. Will a kid really like Dances with Wolves? I don't know. But I watched the extended cut of it. It's like a 3-4 hour version. And I think I got about 2 hours in, and I had to stop. I don't know what the circumstances were. I just had to stop watching it. And I had other stuff to do. Maybe you had to go to bed, maybe I had to go hang out with friends, or I had work. I don't have work late at night, so I can't really, I don't know, But it got to the point where it was almost a year later, like almost exactly a year later, which was uncanny, that my mum was watching it. I came home from work, and she was watching it, I think, in the theatre room, actually. And she was watching she was watching the extended cut on DVD. I chucked on the Blu-ray because I'm like, hey, at least watch the better version. So I put on the Blu-ray because she didn't know how to do the layers, which is fine. It's understandable. And so we got to the point where I watched a bit of it, maybe 5-10 minutes of it, realized where we were at, and realized, oh, I've seen this part, and I've seen maybe the next 10 minutes into the film. How about I just sit here and watch the second half? So I did that. That was also Ben-Hur. I think the same thing. Did I finish Ben-Hur? How many films have I done this? Is it weird to just watch a film and then stop watching it and like come back to it a year later? You could say the same thing about Dune. I know the 2021 version, but I'm not counting that. That doesn't count. Yeah, this was back in April of 2020, saying another classic example of watching the first half pre-intermission 2 years ago and only finishing the second half today just because my dad had it on. So Dad was just watching it. I'm like, all right, sure, I'll watch it, and just continued watching it and watched the whole film. Yeah, I didn't even rate the film because I hadn't given it a full watch in the context of me being, I don't know, 2 years more savvy. And yo, shush. What was the other? So Dances with Wolves. I swear to God, this is one I've watched twice. I mean, I gave Dances with Wolves 4.5 stars, but I really remembered all that had happened. Yeah, so I say that in my review, note, so this is actually 2019, September 2019, I said, note, it totally didn't take me a year to watch the second hour of this film, but I'm okay with that. It was like watching part 2 of an already amazing film, so yeah, that was like a really highly rated film on my part. You know, I don't really have much of a opinion on this, because it's the same thing of people questioning, like, oh, when we're on Letterboxd, and say I watch a film at 10 minutes to midnight, and then finish it the next day, you know, because it's technically, you know, say Friday night, and then we finish it on a Saturday morning. When do you log it? I'm of the preference you log it based on how you feel at the time, and that's very broad and vague. Mostly the point is like, well, if I watched a film, say it's an hour and a half long film, I watch the first half an hour on the Friday night, finish it on the Saturday, I'll log it for the Saturday. If mostly it's a majority of, if I watch the majority of it on one day, like I will have plenty of films where I'll finish the last 5 to 10 minutes by the next day, you know, say just 10 minutes past midnight kind of deal, and then be like, I'm logging this as a film from last year, or a film from yesterday. I think I had that once where we had a film, it was the very last film I watched for the year, and I think the film finished a few minutes after midnight. Bad timing, really, but it wasn't that fantastic of a movie. Maybe that was Burlesque. It's possible. And I logged it as a film from, like, the year beforehand because it was the last film I watched. And we watched the majority because of ads. It was on, like, free-to-air TV or some shit. Yeah, that was recently. That was only a few years ago. So, because I was at my partner's place. So, yeah. I don't know. It's, interesting. But I don't know, it's, there are a lot of films where you can kind of excuse the idea of watching it in parts. Say, for example, the Russian version of War and Peace that goes for almost 8 hours. It's like, when they initially aired that film, you know, I heard someone talking about it. Fuck, I don't know. Someone, either I know, or someone who, maybe it was like a video essay or something, I don't know. Someone was talking about that film and how when it had originally aired, they didn't air it, you know, aired. When it was originally released, they didn't release it in one whole chunk. At least this is from an American or British, Australian point of view. They released it over the course of a few nights. So basically for the 7-hour runtime, you would watch 2 to 2.5 hours each night for like 4 straight nights or something. Which is quite a lot, but at the same time, it's very equivalent these days to just watching, I don't know, binge watching 2 episodes of a TV show every week, and they happen to be 2-hour-long episodes, or 45 to 60-minute long episodes. So there's an equivalency to it. Say like Twin Peaks: The Return. You know, I don't think. I mean, people have probably because it's like 18 hours in total because it's 18 whole parts. I think it roughly equates to almost exactly 18 hours, but maybe a minute or so over because, of course, it's still a TV show. I don't know. But I'm pretty sure that since that whole thing's been released, I am certain that someone has watched it all in one whole go and just done a whole binge of that film. It's like saying it's like doing the complete extended cuts of all 3 Lord of the Rings films. I did that with Dad. I've done that with Dad a few times, but I think the latest one we did, we actually watched the 4Ks of the theatrical cuts and basically did that over 2 nights, but it was like we watched the first, you know, the Fellowship, watched the first half of the Two Towers, finished Two Towers the next day, and then watched Return of the King just after that. I'm pretty sure that's how we did it, because like, they are long films. Even the theatrical cuts are like, what, 2.5 to 3 hours each? I don't really know what I'm getting at. I just think it's an interesting thing, because obviously films are... Sometimes you have no control over it. You're at a cinema. You're at a friend's place. You know, I watched... What's that one with the raccoons? The Studio Ghibli film. Shit, what the hell is it called? I have it here. Pompoko? Is it Pompoko? Where the fuck is P? It's Pompoko. I had watched that at a friend's place when I was in high school. And we got the majority of the way through the film. I think there was like maybe 20, 30 minutes left. And everyone had to leave because it was like, oh, it's like 6 p.m. now. My parents are home. Bye, everyone. And I was like, fuck. We almost finished this whole entire film that we were all really hyped to watch. I don't know, experiences with films can be really interesting like that. You know, I know when The World's End came out, me and my mates tried to watch it in cinema. We weren't of age. We were like 14. It's MA 15 plus, whatever. I was allowed in because I got in there first. My friends went to the bathroom. Well, actually, I don't even think they went to the bathroom. I think they went to, like, get lollies. I already bought lollies or some shit. So I was in there waiting for them, and I'm like, hey, guys, you guys gotta hurry up. The trailers are about to end. You know, the previews are about to end. And they're like, we can't get in. Because the shift had changed. And now the next person who checked the tickets checked their IDs and realized you guys are underage, you can't get in. We'd already bought our tickets. No one had asked at all. Just this one person who checked after the fact that we'd bought our tickets said that we couldn't get in. So that was like a occasion where it was like, for me, I was like, fuck, okay, do I watch the film in cinema by myself? Or do I go out with my friends? And, you know, I already told my parents that we were going out to watch this movie, all this kind of stuff. We ended up playing laser tag for like 3 hours. Actually, it was pretty fun. Memorable enough. Probably more memorable than the film. I still do like the film, but it wasn't until a few months later, I basically pirated the film. Was like, hey guys, let's all come over. I had those friends, I had a few others. We walked basically all the way to my place, which not a great idea. That was like a 2.5K walk from my high school. I think we caught the bus for half of it or some bullshit, but maybe 2 of them had bikes, so they rode, and we caught the bus halfway through. You know, we went, got snacks, had lunch, caught the bus the rest of the way kind of deal. Some shit like that. That was how we did it. We either did or walked the whole way, but it's not a long walk. And so we ended up, I had all these friends over, and we, you know, I screened it for them, obviously, illegally and all that kind of stuff. Gotta love it. But the night before, I had stayed up to watch the whole film. I don't know why. I was just really excited to watch it. So I watched the whole entire film by myself on my laptop in my room until like 1 a.m. I had to get up for school in like 5 hours. Went through that whole entire school day knowing I'd seen the film, knowing all my mates were coming over to watch the film. And I screened it and we all watched it. And they all really liked it. And I was like, yeah, it's like me showing my friends a film I like. Because at the time, I really liked it. I mean, to the point of, like, you know, because I like Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz. I don't like the film as much now, you know. Obviously, different equivalencies when you're a teenager and stuff. But I still think it's a good film. I just think it lacks some energy in the second half. Mostly comedic energy. But that was also one of those weird occasions where I watched the film and then not even 12, well, just over 12 hours later, maybe 15 hours later, 16? I don't know. Watched the exact same film with my friends. I don't know why the hell I watched it before them. I never told them. They'll never know, because I don't even talk to those people anymore. So it's like, it's just one of those things where they will never know that I've already watched that film, and I could sit there and stand there and enjoy it and not have to worry, you know, if the dogs misbehaved, I'd kick him outside. Oh, my friends are enjoying the film. My parents got home, which they got home, I think, as everyone was leaving, so we kind of lucked out there. Maybe there was like 10, 15 minutes left of the film. So, yeah, it was fun and enjoyable. Everyone went home. We all had fun. But yeah. Anyway, I guess it's me just reminiscing on memories about movies. Memories of movies. Memoir of a movie. Is it memoir of a murder? Memory of a murder? What are you? Memories of murder. Memories of murder. I don't know. I think that's like one of the joys of cinema. Just having experiences like that where just weird shit happens. I watched the film after I'd had a fight with my friend. We'd bought tickets already. They left. I still watched the film anyway. I couldn't do anything. They drove. So they just left me. And I was just like, well, I'm going to go watch this film. It was alright. It's Incredibles 2. It wasn't fantastic, but it was alright, you know. Plenty of weird shit like that has happened. I mean, that's pretty standard, you know. But yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching. Give me a fond anecdote about your movie watching habits, or of course, how do you log your movies on Letterboxd? Do you wait till you finish it and then just log it, and so whenever the date is whenever it is? Would you watch a film on the start? Say you watch a film on a Wednesday, and then 3 days later you finish it because you get bored, or maybe you've got a social life, or maybe you've got kids, so you don't finish it and then you watch it a few days later. When do you log that? Do you log that on the day you finished it? That's the day I'd log it, the day I finished it. Just in that case, you know. Even if it's like the last 10 minutes, you just log. Imagine that, you get through the whole entire film, you've got 10 minutes left. Fuck, the kids are here, I've got to turn off the TV. I'm not going to have fun when I have kids. Or maybe I will, I don't know. Parenthood is not something I'm currently interested in, so that's a long way away. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. No, these are not my kids, this is art. I know you weren't thinking that, but I just figured it'd be a fun little gag. Anyway, goodbye.